Welcome back to Jameel Cast, where we explore ideas and innovations shaping the future of our world. Join us as we uncover perspectives and insights at the intersection of purpose and progress, featuring voices from across Abdul, Latif, Jameel's international network of businesses. This is Alex, your AI host. Today, we're diving deep into a subject that's increasingly urgent: whether North America's water security is, in fact, draining away. We're joined by our regular AI guest, Jade, who will help us unpack this critical issue.
Thanks for having me, Alex. It's great to be here.
Jade, it seems like we're seeing more and more headlines about water scarcity. Can you kick us off by painting a picture of what's happening, perhaps starting with a significant example like the Colorado River?
For sure, Alex. The Colorado River is a powerful, perhaps even stark illustration of the challenges we're facing. This river, a lifeline stretching from the Rocky Mountains down to the Gulf of California, is currently in its driest phase in the last 1,200 years. We're talking about a significant reduction in its footprint, covering 20% less land than it did in the 1900s. You see things like ancient settlements and even submerged cars reappearing, and a visible bathtub ring on the banks, showing just how much water has receded.
So it's not just a marginal change then. This is unprecedented in recorded history. What are the practical implications of a decline of that magnitude for the communities and economies that rely on the Colorado River?
The implications are severe and far-reaching. 40 million people across 7 U.S. states depend on the Colorado River, including major cities such as Los Angeles and Denver. The decline threatens the vast agricultural lands traditionally irrigated by the river, which are part of America's breadbasket. Projections indicate the basin could face a deficit equivalent to 1.8 million Olympic swimming pools next year if current trends persist. It's a literal lifeline for many, and its depletion potentially has immense economic and social consequences.
That's an astonishing comparison: 1.8 million Olympic swimming pools. It really helps put the scale into perspective. Is this situation with the Colorado River an isolated crisis, or is it indicative of a broader trend across the North American continent?
Unfortunately, it's far from isolated. The Colorado River crisis is emblematic of a wider water security challenge across the entire continent. In Mexico, for instance, 43% of the 22 million inhabitants of Mexico City lack access to clean water. Mexico's per capita water availability has plummeted from 10,000 cubic meters per year in 1960 to 4,000 in 2012, with projections showing it could drop below 3,000 by 2030. This drastic decline has profound implications for public health and economic stability.
That's a dramatic decline. And Canada? People tend to assume Canada is insulated from this kind of problem.
It's a common assumption, and it's partially wrong. Yes, Canada has vast freshwater resources, but around 85% of the population lives close to the US-Canada border. In the south, meanwhile, 60% of all available fresh water sits in the far northern regions. So there's a significant geographic mismatch between where people are and where the water is. And when you factor in the rising frequency and severity of climate-related events, Canada is increasingly treating water resilience as an urgent policy matter.
So it really is continent-wide. Let's zoom in a bit more on the US. How severe is the water crisis facing North America, specifically within the United States? The American Society of Civil Engineers, or ASCE, has some pretty strong warnings, as I understand.
They do, Alex, and those warnings are quite serious. The ASCE cautions that public faith in the resilience of local aquifers is naive. They're seeing reservoirs more strained than ever, and traditional quick fixes, like diverting water from neighboring areas, are becoming unfeasible because the shortages are just too widespread now. This means communities literally running out of drinking water is, as they put it, a very possible reality.
Naive and reality, those are strong words. And it sounds like this isn't some distant threat either. What specific evidence supports the ASCE's concerns about the US water situation right now?
We only have to look at Lake Mead and Lake Powell, two of America's largest reservoirs on the Colorado River. As of February 2026, Lake Mead was at a worrying 34% capacity and expected to drop further. The concerning part? Over two-thirds of the losses in these vital repositories comprise depletion of groundwater, which replenish far less rapidly than transient surface supplies. Reduced runoff feeding Lake Powell could see levels dropping too low to activate hydroelectric turbines at Glen Canyon Dam, curtailing a source of affordable clean power for families and business throughout the region.
Wow, Lake Mead at 34% capacity is incredibly low, and the reliance on groundwater depletion is a significant red flag, so it's clear the supply side is under pressure. But what about demand? Is the US simply consuming too much water? And if so, what's driving that?
Absolutely. The US is a thirsty society, currently consuming around 322 billion gallons of water daily across various sectors. This demand is only projected to increase due to several factors. Population growth is one. The US is home to more people than ever before, and the country's headcount rose approximately 0.5% in 2025 to more than 343.6 million people. Many families are moving to warmer regions where water supplies are already under the most extreme stresses.
So, it's not just a matter of more people, but where those people are choosing to live, putting strain on already vulnerable areas. What other factors are contributing to this growing demand?
Global warming plays a huge role. Last year, 2025, was the fourth hottest year on record in America, with temperatures an average of 2.6 Celsius above the 20th century norm. Warmer temperatures mean increased evaporation, leading to higher water consumption across homes, farms, and factories, intensifying the strain on existing supplies. And then there's the burgeoning demand from data centers.
Data centers? That's an interesting one. We hear so much about AI and cloud computing, but how exactly are they impacting water scarcity?
The proliferation of data centers, driven by AI and cloud computing, consumes vast amounts of water for cooling processes. Some researchers suggest that by 2028, US data center water consumption could double to 150 billion liters per year, or even quadruple to 280 billion liters compared to 2023 levels. This is a significant new demand competing with traditional uses.
That's a huge shift in demand, especially for something we might not immediately associate with water consumption. Given all these factors, what are the potential consequences if North America, specifically the US, fails to address this developing water crisis adequately?
The consequences would be profound and far-reaching. Freshwater is vital across multiple sectors in the United States, including for generating thermoelectric energy, irrigating farmland, domestic use, for businesses, and for aquatic agriculture. Insufficient water would mean a radically different society to the one enjoyed by millions today. Our homes, where limitless water is often taken for granted for things like flushing lavatories, showers, and faucets, would feel the impact almost immediately once demand exceeds supply.
Building on that, Jade, it really begs the question, can we even stem this tide of water wastage before things get truly critical? I mean, are we just letting it all drain away?
It's a crucial question, Alex, and sadly, the data suggests we're already losing a significant amount. The National Association of Water Companies highlights that we're experiencing approximately 240,000 water main breaks annually in the US. That's costing the nation an estimated 6 billion gallons of water daily. It's happening right now, not just some hypothetical future.
6 billion gallons daily? That's an astounding figure. Why is that still happening if we know it's such a critical resource? Is it purely a funding issue, or is there more to it?
It's multifaceted, really. A major contributor is the fragmented nature of the US water market. With around 52,000 separate water companies, critical infrastructure investments often fail to materialize. This is due to both cost inefficiencies and a lack of consolidated expertise. Underfunding runs wide and deep, exacerbating the problem despite the clear economic impact water has.
I see. So, fragmentation and underinvestment are significant hurdles, but given these challenges, are there proven solutions out there? What kind of strategies are available to actually tackle this wastage and improve our water security?
Absolutely, solutions do exist. They just require willpower and coordinated effort. We can talk about conservation on multiple fronts. At home, through things like high-efficiency showerheads and fixing leaks. In industry, using advanced cooling technologies and smart meters. And in agriculture, with drip irrigation and sustainable soil practices.
Those sound like practical steps for different sectors. What about more large-scale technological solutions? Are there innovations emerging that could make a significant difference to our water supply?
Definitely, water recycling is becoming increasingly sophisticated. Many states are already using reclaimed grey water for agriculture and industry. Beyond that, advanced treatment plants are now making sewage water reusable, even creating water as clean as distilled water through processes like reverse osmosis, hydrogen peroxide, and UV light treatment.
That's incredible, turning wastewater back into a pristine resource. What about completely new sources of water, like from the ocean? Is desalination a viable option to expand our supply?
Desalination is certainly viable and already serves about 300 million people globally. The US has facilities, like the largest plant in San Diego, which provides water for 10% of the region, though it's currently more expensive than conventional sources. The technology is advancing, focusing on improving efficiency, managing saline byproducts, and powering these plants with renewable energy.
And what about, looping back to our previous discussion, the issue of water use in rapidly expanding areas like data centers? Are there specific solutions being developed there?
For data centers, low water cooling technologies are pivotal. Innovations like immersion cooling, where racks are dipped in thermal conduction liquid, significantly reduce water use compared to traditional methods. There's also dry cooling, which uses ambient air, though it's currently more costly and less efficient. Research is continually pushing these technologies forward.
So, the solutions are there, spanning from individual actions to high-tech industrial applications. But this all sounds like it requires significant investment. How is that being addressed, and where do you see the biggest potential for game-changing solutions? Specifically, can the private sector really step up and prevail with a flood of innovations here?
Absolutely, Alex. The private sector is already a significant force, bringing a wealth of innovation and investment. Take Almar Water Solutions, for instance, part of Jameel Environmental Services. Founded in 2016, they've rapidly become a major and established reference player in desalination, wastewater treatment, reuse, and recycling. They're tackling water scarcity head-on in some of the most water-stressed regions globally, demonstrating how private enterprise can drive substantial change and deploy advanced technologies effectively.
That's a fascinating example. So they're not just ideating, they're implementing on a massive scale. Can you give us a more concrete picture of the kinds of projects they're undertaking?
Certainly. Almar's portfolio spans continents, from Europe to Latin America and Asia Pacific. One standout project is the Shuqaiq 3 desalination plant on Saudi Arabia's Red Sea coast. It's one of the world's largest reverse osmosis plants, producing over 18 million liters of potable water every hour. This wasn't a short-term fix. It was developed under a 25-year build-own-operate contract, showcasing the long-term commitment and capital the private sector can bring to critical water infrastructure.
Wow, 18 million liters an hour, that's a staggering amount. And it sounds like these aren't just limited to desalination either, right? What about other areas like wastewater treatment?
That's right. Their work is quite diverse. In Bahrain, for example, Almar operates the Muharraq wastewater treatment plant, which cleans around 100,000 cubic meters of used water daily. They're also constructing the Zuluf water treatment plant in Saudi Arabia to support oil facilities, demonstrating that industrial water needs are also being met with advanced solutions. Their projects extend further to urban water concessions and specialized contracts in places like Chile, Peru, Indonesia, and Australia.
So it's a truly global effort. And you mentioned Chile. What's happening there? Is that providing water for something like mining, which can be quite water intensive?
Precisely. In Chile, Alma is involved in the Centinela water system project. An extension called Siam-2 involves a dual pipeline that will eventually transport over 167,000 cubic meters of water daily to the Centinela mining district. This is crucial for preserving finite freshwater resources.
That truly highlights the scale of the challenge. And Carlos Cosen, CEO of Alma, he also shared some thoughts on North America specifically, right?
Yes, Carlos Cosen points out that what happens in North America's water management will shape global trends. He notes millions of Americans already consume water that fails some more stringent environmental standards and cites the Colorado River as a troubling harbinger for water-stressed regions everywhere. He firmly believes that both private and public sectors must coalesce around innovative and cutting-edge solutions to ensure wiser water management. He stresses we're at a crossroads, and it's a critical moment to decide what future is in the pipeline for our planet.
That's a powerful statement from Carlos about being at a crossroads. We've seen today that North America's water security is indeed under significant threat, from the shrinking Colorado River and Mexico City's acute shortages to the US's aging infrastructure and skyrocketing demand from data centers. The good news is that solutions exist, from individual conservation to advanced desalination and wastewater treatment, with the private sector driving crucial innovations.
And remember, the scale of this issue means that collective action and investment, both public and private, are essential for a sustainable water future.
That's all for this episode today. Thank you to our guest Jade for shedding light on such a critical topic. Join us next time as we explore another pressing global issue. You've been listening to Jameel Cast, the official podcast of Abdul Latif Jameel. For more insights and conversations shaping our future, follow us wherever you get your podcasts or visit alj.com to read our Perspectives articles. Thank you for joining us, and until next time, stay curious.